Hi everyone, my name is Natasha Munasinghe and I run a company called Frank. The whole mission of our organization is to make education and training really human and relatable. And I'm going to talk to you today about your video pitch coming up, which is super exciting. So in the video, I'm going to talk about content. This is what you're going to say, and structure, which is how you're going to say it. How are you going to format and organize your content and information? So the first thing I want you to remember when it comes to content is your audience, as in who are you pitching to? In this case, your judges, who are they? What are they listening for? Now, if you don't know, that's okay, but you really want to do some research to find out. For example, if you're pitching to a group of investors, that's different to pitching to a group of high school students. You want to say the things that will get someone's listening, so be aware of that. Now, here are some 5 talking points for your video pitch. This is the stuff you're going to be talking about. The first one is your target market, as in who are you going to work with for your learning activity. And you can do all high school students, or you can be quite specific, like definite year groups. So I've given you an example of year 11 high school students living in rural New South Wales. If something like that is your target market, tell us why you chose them. The second thing you want to talk about is your learning activity. This is your solution or idea. What are you actually doing? For example, is it a school competition, an exhibition, a series of workshops? You really want to tell us in detail what the learning activity is. Tell us the human-centered skills you're focusing on and the problem you're trying to solve. Give us the detail, because remember, the people listening to your video are hearing it for the first time. So they need the detail and explanation to form an idea or an image in their mind about what you're actually doing. Finally, you really want to focus on practically how are you going to make this happen in real life? How is your learning activity realistic? Very important. So third point is around money and costs. How much is it going to take to actually make your learning activity happen? If you don't know, you can do some research to find out what other people are doing similar to you and use those costs as a guide. Remember, when it comes to costs, make it realistic. 4 is around talking about your supporters, as in whose help do you need to make your learning activity happen? Is it teachers, SRC, your local businesses? Who are they and what type of help do you need from them? Specify that. And finally, you want to talk about your marketing. What are you going to do to get the attention of your target market? And we want you to also give some detail and be specific here. So for instance, if you say social media, tell us which platform, Facebook, Insta, TikTok, and tell us why you're choosing that platform. You really want to focus on 1 to 3 tops marketing methods, nothing more than that, because you want to be specific. So that was content. Now let's focus on structure, which is how do you arrange your content and information so that it persuades people and is understood by people? Very important to be understood. So in the beginning, we're beginning, middle, end. In the beginning, you really want to make it catchy and try to get someone's interest in the first 2 to 3 sentences. You can do so by using facts or data, really interesting ones. So the example I've given on screen is, according to a report by Deloitte Access Economics, 63% of all jobs in Australia, so a huge chunk of jobs in Australia by 2030, will use human-centered skills. Using stats gets people's attention. You might also use images or a quote. Again, just make it relevant to your learning activity. Or option number 3, you can tell a story about your target market. For example, you might say something like this. 25% of high school students we spoke to weren't confident about job skills. Tom is one of the students we spoke to. Tom is in year 11 and unsure of what he wants to do for a uni degree or job. Once you give some description of the person, a story, then you connect it to why they need your learning activity. How is it going to help them? Again, just makes it very human. That's your beginning. The middle is you look at everything we covered for content. So target market, your description of your learning activity, your supporters, your costs, your marketing. Keep your sentences short, sharp, and impactful. And if you can, this is a bonus, try to, in a very few sentences, explain why your idea is unique or different. That'll really help you stand out. Finally, you have your end. This is where you summarize in 1 or 2 sentences your learning activity. And you want to think, if my judges are going to be listening to lots of videos, what's the one thing I'd like them to remember about my video that helps me stand out? Really try to make it memorable. And that's the end. Good luck.